Hey scholars, it's Miss Marnon. So today we're going to keep working on our statistics unit. And so today we're looking at dot plots. Now you might have seen some dot plots before, but in 7th grade we're really focused on interpreting them and then comparing. So if you have 2 dot plots and you can make some assumptions overall. So maybe you can say one's higher on average, one's skewed one way or the other. So that's what we're looking for. But first, for our review questions about compound probability, what is the probability of rolling a 6-sided die 4 times, getting an even number, a 3, a number greater than 2, and a 1 in that order? So we remember compound probability, we can multiply each of the individual probabilities. So pause the video and see if you can answer this review question on your own. Okay, so the probability of getting an even number would be 3 out of 6, or 1/2. Getting a 3 is 1 out of 6. A number greater than 2 would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 out of 6, or we can simplify to 2/3. And then getting a 1 has a 1 out of 6 probability. So we can multiply the numerators. 1 times 1 times 2 times 1 is just 2. 2 times 6 times 3 times 6 is 216. This actually simplifies to 1 over 108. So it's going to actually be less than 1%, the probability of getting that. Our preview question is just going to be a quick refresher on mean, median, mode, and range, because we need that sometimes with our dot plots and our other statistical plots. So find the mean, median, mode, and range of the following data sets. So 50, 62, 80, 75, 73, 88, 93. So pause the video and try it on your own. Okay, so the mean, we have to add them up and divide by the number of numbers. So I already started adding them up and I got 521. So now there are 7 numbers, so we need to do 521 divided by 7. We can round this to 74.43. So now we can put the number in order and it will help us with median, mode, and range. So the smallest is 50, then 62, 73, 75, 80, 88, 93. So range is biggest minus smallest. 93 minus 50 would be 43. Mode, nothing's repeated, so there's no mode. And now median, we just have to find the middle. And that would be 75. So for our notes, there's a video here on how to make dot plots. If you want some help on that, it's linked right where it says exercise 1. We have the question, how many brothers and sisters do you have? So I just have 2 sisters, Kelsey and Tiffany. And then we're going to mark our class's data with an X or a dot right above the number line. So for me, I would put my dot here above 2. Jake is here. He would do 3. He's got 3 brothers and sisters. So this is going to be different depending on who's in our class, but all we're going to do is a dot. So if somebody else has 3, they'd go here. If somebody has 13, it'd go here. 7, maybe somebody has 5 and 4. So we're going to get a dot plot for our class. And then when we're in class, we have to find the median. So if this was my class, for example, I'd have to cross out 1 here, 1 here, until we can figure out what the median is. And we just got 5 left. So what generalizations can we make? So here we can say that we got an outlier at 13. We can say that it's kind of centered. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So anything we can say about our class. And again, this is going to be different once you're actually in class. So for exercise 2, we have some notes to fill out quick. So to compare dot plots, there's a couple of things we look at. So we look visually, we look how the graph looks in its overall shape. And what we mean by that is it skewed left, right? Is it center or jumbled? Now, the weirdest thing about the skew is that it's not going to be like where the bump is. It's going to be like how the shape is. So like this, if it's skewed like this, where the tail is, this is skewed left. And one that's shaped like this would be skewed right, because it's the side with the tail, not where most of it is. Then you're also going to look if there's any outliers, so any that's really far from everybody else. We also look at numerically, so like the center, we normally look at the median. And the spread, we usually look at the range. When we do box plots later, you're going to look at the interquartile range. So here we have 2 dot plots that show the number of miles ran by Josmir and by Tristan for the past 20 days. So we need to compare the shapes of the dot plots. So if I start looking, I'm going to kind of draw a line to kind of make it like a hill. And I can do that here too. So I would say Josmir's is pretty centered, but maybe you interpret it a little different. Tristan's, I think it's definitely skewed left. He's got a couple of days where he only did 2 and 3. So we can also look at the centers. So if I want to go through, I can find the median of both of these by crossing out dots on each end. Luckily, they're already in order for us. And we're going to kind of see that it's going to end up for Tristan, it's 5. And then for Josmir, it's going to end up somewhere. Oh, it looks like it's going to be right at 7. So Josmir's middle value, he ran 5 miles. Tristan ran 7. It's looking like Tristan ran more. And then if we look at the range, the highest for Josmir is 7 minus 1, that would be 6. And then the range for Tristan, we have 10 minus 2, it's 8. So what we can kind of say is that it looks like Tristan on average ran more, but there were a couple of days where he did less. It's more spread out. Josmir is a little more consistent. The range is spread out a little closer together. It's not as widely spread as it is with Tristan. So there's a couple different ways we can interpret it and make some generalizations. So for exercise 3, we have Miss Pluff's class. She looked at some scores from her 1st and 4th period classes. So we have their dot plots below. So what conclusions can we make? So if we want to look at this, we can look at a couple of things. We can look at the shape. So this one, I don't know if you want to say jumbled or if you want to say skewed right. This one I'm thinking is definitely jumbled. There's kind of peaks everywhere. You could find the median. It looks like the highest scores were in her, this will say 4th period, but then it looks like they're kind of closer together here in the 80s. Looks like maybe the median's going to be like 90 here. So what conclusions can you make? So I'm not going to write anything because it's going to kind of be up to your interpretation for that. When you're done with your exercise, you have to complete one of the practice problems, and then you have your exit ticket comparing the height of softball players to the height of basketball players. Make sure when you're done, you go onto Canvas and complete one choice from the choice